Hey there guys, welcome back to AFCGameByGame. Apologies first of all that this video is coming a little bit later than usual. I thought it would probably be a good idea to reflect on last night's result, digest it a little bit rather than get straight into the thick of it last night when I probably wasn't in the best of humours. Honestly, last night I was so angry with Arsenal's performance. I was so angry. Made even angrier by Unai Emery's comments after the game saying that we didn't deserve to lose that match, which is absolute nonsense. I don't know where to start with that one, honestly, because there's so many things that went wrong from before the game even started to the final whistle. Bitterly disappointed with how that Arsenal team played, and the most frustrating thing about this for me, and I'm sure it's the exact same for lots of you guys as well, is that I know full well that this team can do a lot better. We've seen it multiple times over the past 18 months that this team is capable of doing exciting things, and I fully am not of the opinion that this is a poor squad that Unai Emery has inherited, which I say in inverted commas because he hasn't really inherited this squad. This is a team that is entirely of his own doing pretty much. There's only a couple of Arsene Wenger players left in that team, but apart from that, in these past 18 months, there's been a real overhaul in this side. Socrates, David Luiz, Kieran Tierney coming into the team. I mean, loads and loads of changes have happened in this squad, and Unai Emery has been a big part of that. And of course, Ralph Sanelli's been a big part of that as well. I mean, we don't actually know how much influence Unai Emery has had in some of the additions we've brought in, and I think a large part of it is down to the higher up recruitment structure we've got at the club. But it's really worrying for me that we've got such a talented group of players that just aren't being utilised correctly. And people say it's down to the system that Unai Emery's playing, and I would believe that if I actually saw a system that we were trying to play. I don't see a system, I don't see a philosophy, and I certainly don't understand what Unai Emery is trying to do at this football club. I've got no clear idea of what he wants to try and do with Arsenal. I don't see it, and my honest opinion is that he is not the man to take us forward. After last night's result, that was a nail in the coffin for me. I'm completely of the opinion that Unai Emery is not going to get us in the top four this season, and I'm pretty certain we're going to have a great Europa League run with him. I don't care about the Europa League. If I'm being brutally honest with myself, I do not care about that game on Thursday night against Vitoria. I know obviously it's a big game for younger players like Martinelli. It will be an exciting game. We're going to see someone like Torreira come back into the side. We'll see Bellerin. We'll see an exciting performance. We'll probably win that game 3 or 4-0, but then we'll see the like of David Luiz, Socrates return for the game on Sunday against Palace, and we'll probably see another drab performance like we did yesterday. So I can't get too excited, and I'm just left increasingly frustrated by some of the decisions that Unai Emery is making. That team lineup yesterday was, I don't want to say awful, but I think it was awful. I was really disheartened by that team that Unai Emery put out because it wasn't pragmatic, it wasn't exciting, it wasn't the team that I think a lot of Arsenal fans wanted to see. We continue to persist with Socrates and David Luiz. These two have to go ASAP. They are garbage as a pair. Either play one of them or play neither of them. That's the only option we've got there. We've got a fully fit Rob Holding on the bench, and one of the even more frustrating things for me is that we're being overly cautious with certain players. You know who I'm talking about, Rob Holding and Kieran Tierney, who are both on the bench yesterday. Rob Holding's been back 2 months. Kieran Tierney's been back a month. I mean, they'll get injured at some point. It's inevitable, and I'd rather they got injured playing in the Premier League and we actually got them in the competition where we need to be winning games rather than seeing them get injured against Vitoria or Karabag or whoever we might play in the Europa League. It's pointless utilising our best players in that competition when we need to be winning games in the Premier League, and we've completely squandered what could have been 3 points yesterday. We had all the opportunities to do it. I mean, we didn't create any opportunities, but had we lined up correctly with the right team, then definitely would have got the right opportunities. We've got no link between midfield and attack. We've all been aware of that this season. We dominated possession yesterday, but we were no threat to Sheffield United whatsoever. We created something like one chance, something absolutely pathetic. We had that great Pepe chance, which definitely should have been in the back of net. We should have had a penalty. Socrates was definitely pulled. It makes you question why VAR is even being used if it's going to be that pointless. Saka was booked for a dive, which I thought was borderline ludicrous. Dean seemed to have his pocket out of his card before Saka had even hit the floor. Granted, he went over easily, but I think he's running full pelt at the guy that he's run into, and I just think he's unintentionally run into his foot and lost balance. I don't think it's a dive by any means, and Dean just wanted to slow the game down at every opportunity yesterday. So I'm not looking to make excuses about why we lost. We did deserve to lose that, and credit to Sheffield United. They're a very resolute side, and I really, really do admire that they've stuck with the core values that they had in the Championship. They brought it up to the Premier League. They're continuing to play in that way. They're very hard to break down. I've got the utmost respect for a team like that. And as Arsenal fans, we're entitled to absolutely nothing. We're really, really entitled to nothing at the minute. So, yeah, credit to Sheffield United, but it's just the apathetic performance from Arsenal, the way we're playing, the lack of identity at this club. There's so many things that have to change, and Emery's the one that's got to come first and foremost. And obviously, the argument is, who do you bring in? It's a massive, massive question. But I don't think you can persist with the mediocrity that we're seeing with Unai Emery, because the longer you do that, the more you're accepting failure. That's honestly what I believe. And we're I honestly think we'd be in a better shape if we put someone like Freddie Ljungberg in. I know that's like a completely off-the-cuff statement, but I think we need someone that's going to play the Arsenal way, know the values of the club, know the identity, and I just don't think Unai Emery has that installed in him. And I think we're going to go every game away this season and lose. I'd rather not watch us away this season with Unai Emery at the helm, because I think we will lose every single game away from home with him in charge. I still can't get my head around that team selection. Not playing Kieran Tierney when you've got Kolasinac, who just refuses to play at left back and is always drifting high up the pitch. Caught out position numerous times yesterday. The continuous selection of Luiz and Socrates, who we both know are garbage, completely caught ball watching on that goal that Sheffield United scored. Play one or the other. Ideally Luiz, because Socrates he's done at this club. He was done towards the end of last season. He's done now. I don't think he's got anything left to give Arsenal, and I've got no personal affiliation to him whatsoever. I don't rate him as a footballer. I don't rate that he pumps his fist in the air. He's not a signing that I particularly wanted from Dortmund, and he's a player that was a stopgap. He did okay last season, but he's not someone that I think should be starting for Arsenal week in, week out at this point, when we've got the likes of Rob Holding, when we've got Callum Chambers, who struggled at right back yesterday, but defensively I think he still did very well, and I think it's so obvious that he's got to play in a centre-back role, a more central position, because that's where he's more suited. I'm frustrated. Xhaka and Guendouzi, play one or the other. Don't play both. They're too similar to each other. They both do the same job effectively. Everyone criticises Granit Xhaka, but you put Lucas Torreira alongside him and you'll not notice his mistakes anywhere near as much. The same with Guendouzi. Play one or the other alongside Lucas Torreira. And the Torreira thing is just as baffling as the Mesut Ozil thing. This is a guy that won something like 3 or 4 man of the match performances in a row for us this time last year. Why not playing him? And why not playing him as a central defensive midfielder? We know exactly what he offers to this team. And it's not just the defensive side of his game. Excellent pass for the ball. Brilliant driver with the ball. Always looking to create opportunities. Always wants to play the forward ball. Lucas Torreira is someone that I think has to be in this Arsenal team. And I feel really bad for the guy. Starts for Uruguay whenever he's available for them. Doesn't seem to start for Arsenal. Seems completely out of favour. And then that brings me on to Mesut Ozil, who was again absent from the team. And you cannot be telling me that there isn't something deeper going on, because we had 86% possession in like a 10-minute spell in the game yesterday. Surely Ozil would have created a chance. The amount of the ball we dominated, Ozil would have created something. We've got the best striker in the league at the minute in Aubameyang. We've got one of the best wingers, supposedly, in the world in Nicola Pepe, who I thought was excellent yesterday, and I think it is only a matter of time before he really hits full stride and shows the world exactly what he can do at this club. But he needs a creator. He needs someone to provide him with opportunities. Ozil could have been that guy. And I know that we say he's not particularly good away from home. He doesn't like these tough games. But we dominated the ball. They're the exact type of games that Ozil enjoys. And to have someone that's paid £350,000 a week, not include him on the bench, I think that says more about Unai Emery than it does about Mesut Ozil. If Emery can't get the best out of this guy, then I think that's on him. I don't think that's on Ozil. I mean, Ozil, I don't think he's buying into the way Emery wants to play, and I can't blame him. I can't blame him given the way that given the football we play, because I don't think the players have any clear idea of what they're doing. It really does echo what we saw towards the end of the Arsene Wenger era, getting into the final third, playing it backwards, playing it forward, side to side, crossing to the box, heads back out, back into the box, sideways, forward occasionally, with no clear-cut chances, and it's deeply worrying. It's deeply worrying because when Aubameyang doesn't turn up, then there's no one to bail us out. So Very worried about what's going on. And I'm not going to say that game against Vitoria, if we win it 4 or 5-0, is going to put things right. It's an opportunity to bounce back, but in what circumstances? That game, I don't care about that game. I really don't care about it. I'd much rather would have won that game yesterday. That was the one that was important to me. And then, of course, there's that one against Crystal Palace in the weekend. We've got such a good opportunity to get into the top 4. We're not going to have a better one. And we should be thankful that the likes of United are faltering, that Tottenham are faltering. Chelsea aren't faltering. I mean, they're a club we should be looking at. I hate to say it, but bringing in Frank Lampard, playing the football they're playing, I'm jealous. I am jealous of what Chelsea are doing, because that's exactly what I'd like to see Arsenal doing. And that's what gives me inspiration that someone like Freddie Ljungberg could do a job at this club. Because you look at the Frank Lampard model, they're in the exact same situation as us pretty much, except we've had the funds, we've gone out there and bought players, and I think we've got a better squad than Chelsea, United, than Spurs. That's the most infuriating thing about it. I think we've probably got, behind Liverpool and City, one of the healthiest squads in the league. I really do believe that. Defence aside, and even with the defensive side, with Rob Holding and Callum Chambers there, they could form a valuable partnership together. But Socrates and Luiz, take them out of the equation. The rest of our team, we've got options in every single position, they're just not being utilised in the right way. I mean, Danny Ceballos yesterday, when he came on and was effectively playing as a third centre-half between Luiz and Socrates, just because he was having to come so deep to pick the ball up. The mind baffles, it really, really does. And the clock is really ticking for Unai Emery. We'll win on Thursday. I've got no doubt in my mind about that. And I don't know how Sunday's going to go. I really, really don't. But there's no identity to this team. There's no structure. There's no link between midfield and attack. The defence is garbage. Emery keeps picking players that don't perform. He does everything that a manager shouldn't do. He does it week in, week out. And the club don't seem to be asking questions of him, which is worrying for me. And I really hope Ralph Snelly is brave, earns his money, and makes the decision that this club needs to make, because otherwise we're gonna have the inevitable capitulation that we did last season, but it's gonna come a lot earlier and it's gonna be a lot uglier. So that's all I've got to say. Last night was dreadful. We deserve nothing from that game, and I feel like until Emery is removed and we bring someone else in, then we're not gonna see this club have any chance of finishing in the top 4. I hate to say it like that, but this club is capable of so much more. These players are so much more talented than people will have you believe, and I don't think Emery is the right man to do it if he can't utilise a system and play with an identity, a philosophy that brings out the best in these players. It seems crazy to me that this time last year we were chanting we've got our Arsenal back, and now we're in this position. There was obviously there was a clear plan from Emery when he first came in. We played that high pressing game. We were all very excited by what we were seeing. We thought we were developing into this pressing side, Jurgen Klopp-esque, beautiful football at times. We had that brilliant win against Fulham last season. We had that brilliant home win against Leicester. Beautiful football. Not seen that once. All of our wins, all of our defeats, all of our draws this season in the league have been horrible. They've not been pleasant to watch. I mean, maybe apart from that game against Aston Villa, where it was really scrappy, but I think that was more the fact that we came from behind with a red card. That's the one thing I can say about this team. It has got character. And I don't blame the players last night. I don't think it's a question of effort. I don't think it's a question of not wanting. I think it's much more a question of the manager, the system that's been implemented, and why we weren't creating. Because they're instructed to do things, those players, and they're just not able to deliver on what Emery is asking them. Or they don't understand what's being asked of them. Either way, it's a massive problem. Emery's been here well over a year now. We don't have time to waste. We're coming to the end of October now. It's still a long season to go, but the more we drop points, and we will lose every single game away from home with Emery in charge, we're not going to be in a good position come the end of the season, and we should be, because this team is capable of doing great things. I'm going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments box below. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you very soon. See you later, guys.